between 1983 and the year 2000, 96% of people who were involved in the plane crashes actually survived them.
Yeah.
So your fear of flying is not realistic.
I have no fear of flying whatsoever. I have an immense fear of burning to death in a fiery ball 30,000 feet in the air. That's what I'm afraid of. I'm not afraid of flying whatsoever.
You're afraid of the harsh landing.
I'm not even... Yeah, no, you don't even land in the... You just burn to death before you hit the water. That scares me. I don't want to burn to death in a horrible fireball 30,000 feet in the air. But flying, I'm not afraid of whatsoever.
Well, there you go. I love flying, personally. I'm a big fan. I really enjoy it.
From that height, you wouldn't feel the fall. You'd be dead before you hit the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no deny. Yeah, you're at full altitude. Yeah, 35,000 feet. It's not going to go well for you.
You reach terminal velocity at 60 feet. So.
Yeah, so you're not really going to go all that much faster as you would anywhere else, but still.
Another 39,940 feet. You got a long way to go. That's long enough for you to realize how much it's going to suck when you hit the ground. So you don't want to be alive. Because you got time to think about that shit.
And the conversation you would have, you're like, you would, Jesus, I mean, the amount of time you have for shit to go through your head as you're falling from 35,000 feet.
Every guy falling is thinking the same thing. I wish I hid my porn better. That's what they're going to find when they go to my place.
I wish I cleared my browser history.
I should have. I'm such an idiot. Why don't I ever wash my flashlight and put it away?
Eric, if I were to give you the name Satoshi Nakamoto, would you know who that is?
That's the Bitcoin guy, isn't it?
That is the inventor of Bitcoin. That's right.
Alleged.
But did you know the alleged? Well, did you know that that's actually
a pseudonym?
The person, it's a pseudonym, and still to this day, nobody knows who the person is.
Yeah. People think he's no longer the original. People think all kinds of stuff. There's a guy in New York claiming he's a fraud and he invented Bitcoin. There's all kinds of crap about him.
Well, when you won't come out with your own name, like when you won't come out with a thing to say who you are, it just makes sense that anybody could just jump all over and be like, fuck you, you're not real.
Well, it makes it more interesting, though.
That's very true.
Keeps people interested. If everyone knew who Banksy was, no one would give a fuck who Banksy is.
That's very true.
So, maybe Satoshi could come up and figure out why it tanked $5,000 after the last time we talked about it.
Yeah, did you see that shit? Man, I lost a bunch of money in a very short period of time.
I did too, everything.
Fuck's sakes.
My whole $10.
Man, I'm just
million.
very disappointed.
If you invested $10 in 2001, you'd have $13 million right now. I want my $13 million, Satoshi. I hold you personally responsible for this. Probably is Banksy.
Wouldn't you know what? I gotta admit, that probably would not be overly surprising.
So yeah, I figured out. They say it's gonna bounce back. It's just a weird thing that it does. I don't know. I was reading about it.
Wow, I did down to 10,000. I'm down to $120 again.
Yeah.
I was up to, so I'm down $20. It's not that bad of a deal, but
yeah, but if you
only got 140.
If you had 130 million, you'd be down 20 million and you'd be choked.
Yeah, exactly. That's very true.
You know what happened today?
What happened?
Star Trek appeared on television for the very first time.
No.
1966.
Oh. And truly, the world has never been the same since. You can actually say that.
They boldly managed to never get the fuck off TV. Ever. Always
at least
Star Trek somewhere.
At least they learned how to do some better acting skills, that's all. I'm happy with that.
They did not whatsoever. It's all the same.
It's just all variations of Shatner.
It really is. Jonathan Frakes was the best. He was worse than Shatner. Fucking Fracas. What the hell was his name? Number one?
I can't remember.
Number one, engage. Jonathan Fracas. I always liked the ones... He directed a lot of episodes, and I always liked the ones he directed because he was never in them.
Oh, that's perfect.
He directed the first movies, too. That's why he's not in the movies very much. Like, number one, shit. Go away and do something else. He's like, aye, aye. And then he just fucks off for the whole movie because he's directing. And that made me happy because he was a douche. I don't know the man. I don't know. I've never seen him act in anything else. Well, I've never seen him act in anything, really.
Probably a reason for that.
But that happened. That was a thing that happened today.
Neat. Did you know that in the entire state of Wyoming, there's only 2 escalators in the entire state, and they're both in the city of Casper.
They both go down. It's the worst.
Well, the interesting thing is that it's so rare that some Wyoming residents visit these escalators just for the novelty of them.
Yeah, they were not popular when they were first invented. And not necessarily in Wyoming. I just mean worldwide. People hated them when they first came out.
Yeah.
People were terrified of them. They were just horrible, evil devil machines. And nobody liked them. Nobody used them. So it makes sense that there would be places that just never caught up.
Yeah.
Same with the shopping cart. Oddly enough.
Yeah, shopping cart. Yeah, that's a weird one that nobody would be. People would be against that. That's weird. But one of the tourists was asked, "What's it like your first experience?" To go, it's like riding a tilt-a-whirl, but only slower.
That's exactly what it is like. You should go visit Vancouver, Wyoming. Anyone from Wyoming, go visit Vancouver. I almost call it Vanyoming. That'd be a weird Wyoming, Vancouver. I like it. Where there's literally escalators everywhere. Everywhere has an escalator. You have 4 stairs in an escalator.
Yeah, and the weird thing is there's so many people in such good shape. It's a strange thing.
It is. But the escalators are very, very long, and the Granville Station one, everyone looks like they're tilting backwards, but they're not. It's funny. Because it's so far. There's short ones, there's long ones. They're everywhere. People love their escalators in Vancouver, and 3 of them work.
Yeah, that's the most. There's nothing worse than when you're standing. Like you go and you stand, you're on it for like 2 minutes before you realize you haven't moved yet.
That's the famous Mitch Hedberg quote: "An escalator can never break down; it can just become stairs."
And for some reason, that really bothers people.
That's a thing. Hey, you know what was never a thing? Speaking of things that weren't a thing. The Iron Maiden, very famous torture device, was not real. It was never actually made.
But I thought they dug one out of one of the tombs from Egypt.
No, the Iron Maiden did not ever exist. They made one in like the 20s and it got smashed in World War II. But it's not an ancient torture device. That's a big lie. And so the band is a fraud. Take that, Iron Maiden. You've sucked since Fear of the Dark, so it doesn't matter.
You know, the funny thing is, I first typed up and said, when did the first Iron Maiden get made? And it comes up and says, February 15th, 1980. Iron Maiden's first appearance on an album.
That is what we're talking about. Exactly. Way to go, Google.
Not close, right? I hate Google. What a useless piece of crap.
Well, you're not the only one. Everybody in the world is suing them right now.
Good, as they should. Interesting little thing here, and I am actually, this is a pretty cool little fact. If you happen to be in Vietnam in April of 1975, you would have heard a very weird song come over the Vietnam radio, which was Bing Crosby's White Christmas. Well, if you heard it, the reason why you were hearing it is because it was actually a secret signal for Americans to evacuate the country in an event called Operation Frequent Wind.
You know the weirdest part about that story? Bing Crosby never wrote that song.
No, not at all. He just made
Berlin did.
Yeah, he just made it famous. But yeah, so there you go.
They were all about their secret codes, eh? None of them worked.
Yeah. And Bing Crosby's version of White Christmas, it's actually the best-selling single of all time.
That doesn't surprise me, actually.
Yeah.
Very neat.
Yeah.
Way to go, Irving, because Bing didn't do it.
So the most expensive military project, well, we'll just say it for what it is. The most expensive military project of all time, ironically enough, was over the F-35 fighter jet.
Yes.
All right. When they started breaking it down, basically the total cost was going to be $1.4 trillion.
Yes.
And they said that each...
I'm just guessing that. I have no idea what it was supposed to cost.
Yeah.
But
each helmet was $400,000 alone just for the helmet.
Yeah, that's why we didn't buy them.
Yeah, Jesus. It just... Can we say inflated pricing? Come on now.
Pretty retarded.
Yeah.
But that's why we get to fly around in our fucking 1960s, should have been retired 30 years ago, fighter jets instead of ones that the world has.
Yeah. This next one I want to find out here. So when this article was first written, which I'm going to be honest, I don't know when it was because I don't have the date in front of me. But they actually pulled something off. They made the city of Oslo, they actually made the entire city to ban all cars. So okay. It's the most pedestrian friendly. There are no cars. And it's just meant for bicycles and walking.
That sounds stupid. What do ambulances do?
I don't even know what to say about that. I mean, unless if the only things allowed on roads are like emergency vehicles, maybe. But even then, that's still a lot of pedestrians to have to worry about.
What the police do? They just
run
arrest
fast.
you and then walk you to the police station?
That would suck. There's talk about communal service with that one. I mean, like you've already done half your sentence just by getting arrested.
You're under arrest. Are you taking me in? Nah, as soon as the bus comes.
Yeah. No, we're going to shoot you in the leg so we can get an ambulance here. Pop.
That seems like a terrible idea. Way to go, Oslo.
Way to go, Oslo.
Is that why your country's called Oslo?
Yes, because it is awfully slow. Without a doubt. Oh, man. You know the mighty Cougar, not the 40s plus chick who's in Heat, but the actual...
The awesome Mercury car? Yes, I do.
The actual animal. Interesting about that one because it has over 40 different names in English, 18 different names in native South America, and 25 native North American names, all for the exact same animal.
Huh.
So just to give an idea, so the cougar is actually the same animal as a puma, mountain lion, panther, catamount, to name a few. But it's all the same. It's actually all the same animal.
Huh. Well, that makes humans seem stupid.
Yeah, it kind of does, doesn't it?
Why don't we just call it the same thing?
Not sure how to even... I just don't even know.
It's a cougar. This is how that conversation goes, and this is why the world's such fucked up, because people won't do this. You go, hey, that's a cougar. And then a guy goes, no, that's a
panther.
Mountain lion. And you go, no, it's pronounced cougar, you fucking moron. And then you move on. And then everybody goes, oh, I guess it's cougar. I was wrong.
Learn something new. I can move on with my life.
And then we all have